How's everyone doing tonight? Good? Great. So let's dive into the wacky world of politicians. You know, those folks who promise us the moon during the election and then give us a paperweight when they're in office. Classic move. We've all seen them, right? Suit-clad, smooth-talking with a gleaming smile that's brighter than my future. They're like the magicians of reality. Now you see the promises and poof, now you don't. I was watching the news the other day and they were interviewing a politician. You could tell he was lying because his lips were moving. I thought, man, he's got a career in ventriloquism if this politics thing doesn't work out. Politicians love to talk about unity, but have you ever seen them try to agree on where to have lunch? It's like watching a bunch of toddlers argue over crayons. But hey, at least toddlers eventually settle on a color. And let's not forget about their speeches. You've got to love their linguistic gymnastics. They always start a speech with "my fellow Americans" and end with "God bless you all." It's like a verbal sandwich with a whole lot of baloney in the middle. You know, politicians are great at making promises. It's like a game show. If elected, I promise free pizza on Fridays and unlimited Wi-Fi for all. I'm waiting for a politician to promise a unicorn in every backyard. I'd vote for that guy. But my favorite thing about politicians is their ability to dodge questions. Journalist: sir, what is your stance on healthcare? Politician: well, let me tell you about my cat Mittens. Cute little guy, always napping. And have you noticed that politicians never age? They go into office looking like regular people, and 4 years later they come out looking like they just discovered the fountain of youth. I want whatever skincare routine they're on. But hey, let's give credit where credit is due. Politicians are excellent at one thing: blaming the other guy. It's like a never-ending game of not it in the playground. In conclusion, I've realized that politicians are like diapers. They should be changed frequently and for the same reasons. But hey, at least diapers serve a purpose. You know, those folks who promise us the moon during the election and then give us a paperweight when they're in office. Classic move. I was watching the news the other day and they were interviewing a politician. Now we all know the old saying, right? How can you tell a politician is lying? Oh yeah, their lips are moving. It's a classic, folks. Now this guy, he was a real piece of work. I mean, he was talking so much I thought his jaw would unhinge. He was spinning tales like a weaver at a loom, and not the good kind of tales. You know, the kind that make you think, wow, I really need to vote for this guy. No, more like, wow, I really need to check if my wallet is still there. And the best part was, he never answered a single question. The interviewer would ask, what's your stance on taxes? And he'd respond with a story from his childhood about how he used to sell lemonade. I mean, come on, we're not asking for your life story, buddy. Just tell us if you're going to take more of our hard-earned cash. But the funniest part, the absolute cherry on top, was when they asked him about honesty. I mean, you could practically see the gears turning in his head, trying to come up with a way to answer without actually answering. And then he says, well, I believe in the importance of transparency. Oh, the irony. I mean, if this guy's idea of transparency is keeping us in the dark, then he's doing a fantastic job. He could have a whole second career in magic with the way he makes the truth disappear. But you know what? I have to give him credit. It takes talent to talk so much without saying anything at all. So here's to you, Mr. Politician. You might not be good at running the country, but man, you'd make one heck of a ventriloquist. Just remember, folks, next time you see a politician on TV, take everything they say with a grain of salt. Because if there's one thing they're good at, it's making promises they can't keep. And that, my friends, is why they say, man, he's got a career in ventriloquism if this politics thing doesn't work out. Politicians love to talk about unity, don't they? They stand behind podiums, waving their hands, passionately talking about how we need to come together as a nation. As if they're the kindergarten teachers and we're the rowdy kids who need a timeout. Here's the thing though, unity is a beautiful concept. It's like a unicorn, majestic to imagine, but when you try to find it in the political arena, it's just not there. You might as well be searching for Bigfoot at a disco party. Now let's picture a typical day at the Capitol. Politicians are all gathered, ready to make decisions that will impact us all. But can they agree on anything? Oh, the drama. It's like watching an episode of a reality TV show. But without the guilty pleasure. Think about it. When was the last time you saw politicians come together like a harmonious choir singing the same tune? Probably about the same time you saw a cat and a dog running a three-legged race together. Instead, they seem to spend more time squabbling over the color of the curtains in the meeting room than addressing the issues we face. It's like a fashion show gone horribly wrong, with everyone arguing about who wore it best. And let's not even get started on the bipartisan bickering. It's like watching a never-ending tennis match, where the ball is our future, and the players can't stop arguing about the rules. It's fascinating, really, because when they're not in session, They're all buddy-buddy, laughing and slapping each other on the back. But the moment they step into that chamber, it's like they've all got a case of selective amnesia. So next time a politician talks about unity, remember this. It's more about the unity of their party, not the unity of the nation. And if they ever do find that elusive unity, it'll be like finding a leprechaun at the end of a rainbow. In the end, when you watch politicians argue about unity, it's like watching a bunch of toddlers argue over crayons. And let's be honest, the toddlers probably have a better chance of reaching an agreement. And let's not forget about their speeches. The way they craft their words is truly a spectacle. It's as if they've attended a masterclass in how to say a lot while saying nothing at all. First, they kick things off with a "my fellow Americans," just to remind us that they're one of us. They might as well start with "my fellow Earthlings." It would be just as relatable. Then they throw in a little patriotism, like a pinch of salt in a bland soup. They wave the flag, metaphorically of course. They talk about freedom, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, as if we've forgotten we're in America. Next comes the part where they talk about their grand plans. They promise to build bridges, not physical ones, mind you. No, these are bridges of unity, bridges to a brighter future, bridges to the moon, if that's what it takes. It's then followed by the part where they, subtly or not so subtly, take a jab at their opponents. Unlike some people, they say, or we're not like those other guys. It's like a high school drama, but with higher stakes and less believable characters. And let's not forget the part where they talk about their humble beginnings. It's always a rags to riches tale, a log cabin to White House journey. Suddenly they're not just politicians, they're heroes of an epic saga. Then they bring it home with a powerful ending. They talk about hope, resilience, and the indomitable spirit of the American people. It's like a movie trailer for a blockbuster that never gets released. Finally, they wrap it up with a "God bless you all." It's the cherry on top of the sundae, the bow on the gift, the eye in their iPhone, unnecessary but somehow completes the package. So there you have it, the anatomy of a politician's speech. It's like a verbal sandwich with a whole lot of baloney in the middle. Politicians are great at making promises. They're like those infomercial salespeople who convince you that you absolutely need a gadget that turns bananas into slippers. And just like those late-night commercials, it's all about the showmanship. You see, a campaign promise is a politician's favorite card trick. They pull out this shiny new idea, wave it around, and poof, just like that, you're entranced. It's like a magician saying, "For my next trick, I'll make everyone's student loan debt disappear." And we're all sitting there thinking, well, I'd love to see that one. But here's the thing about promises. They're only as good as the person making them. And politicians, well, they're not exactly known for their stellar track records. It's like asking a fox to guard the henhouse and then acting surprised when there aren't any eggs for breakfast. Now, I'm not saying politicians don't deliver on their promises. Sometimes they do. But it's like ordering a pizza and getting a bagel. Sure, they're both round, but it's not quite what you had in mind. And the promises they make, oh boy. They're like the wish list of a 5-year-old who's just discovered the toy section in a catalog. Free college for everyone, no more taxes. And while we're at it, let's throw in world peace, because why not? I mean, I get it. They're trying to appeal to everyone. It's like being at a buffet and trying to pile everything onto one plate. But at some point, your eyes are bigger than your stomach and you end up with a mess. But you know what? I'm waiting for a politician to promise a unicorn in every backyard. Now that would be something. Imagine waking up to a rainbow-maned horse prancing around your garden. Now I'd vote for that guy. I mean, who needs healthcare when you've got a unicorn, right? But my favorite thing about politicians is their ability to dodge questions. It's like they've mastered the art of the verbal sidestep. They could be in the middle of a serious debate about climate change, and somehow, they'd manage to divert the conversation to their favorite brand of socks. It's a talent, really, a dubious one, but a talent nonetheless. Consider this. You're watching a live interview, and the journalist asks, "Sir, what is your stance on healthcare?" A straightforward question, right? But our dear politician, he's not one to be cornered so easily. He leans back, smiles that practiced, charming smile, and goes, "Well, healthcare is indeed a critical issue, but let me tell you about my cat, Mittens." And just like that, we're off on a tangent about Mittens, the cat with the softest fur and the loudest purr. Mittens, who loves chasing laser pointers and whose favorite spot is the sunny patch by the window. Mittens, who has absolutely nothing to do with healthcare but has somehow become the star of the conversation. Now, we're all sitting there scratching our heads wondering how we went from healthcare to Mittens. But the politician, he's nonchalant. He's successfully dodged a tough question, and all we got were some entertaining anecdotes about his cat. You see, politicians are like magicians. They distract us with one hand while the other hand does the trick. The only difference is, with magicians, we at least get a rabbit out of the hat. With politicians, we just get more talk about mittens. So the next time you see a politician skillfully avoid a question, remember mittens. Remember how easy it was for the politician to steer the conversation away from the real issue. And remember to ask yourself, what are they trying to hide behind their charming tales of mittens? Well, let me tell you about my cat Mittens. Cute little guy, always napping. And have you noticed that politicians never age? It's like they've got a secret stash of magic potions or a hidden fountain of youth somewhere in the Capitol building. They walk into office looking like they've lived half a life and come out 4 years later, looking like they're ready for a high school reunion. It's uncanny. You might think they are using some high-end, overpriced skincare routine. But no, it's better. It's the magical elixir of political life. Endless debates, never-ending speeches, and the constant stress of trying to remember which lie they told last week. Who knew that could be so rejuvenating? Here's a thought, maybe it's the TV makeup. You know, the thick layer they put on before going on air to make them look less like the crypt keeper and more like a human being. I mean, come on, we've all seen them without makeup. It's like a scene from The Walking Dead. And let's not even get started on their hair. It's like they've got an endless supply of jet black dye. One day they're graying at the temples, and the next they're sporting a hairdo that would make Elvis envious. They must have a secret hair salon tucked away somewhere in the White House. But what really cracks me up is when they try to act young. They'll ditch the suit for a pair of jeans and a t-shirt, and suddenly they think they're the next big thing. They start using slang they clearly don't understand, and it's like watching your grandpa try to do the floss dance. I've even heard rumors that some of them are trying to learn TikTok dances. Can you imagine? A 70-year-old senator doing the renegade. Now that's a sight to behold. So here's the deal. They go into office looking like regular people, and 4 years later, they come out looking like they just discovered the fountain of youth. I want whatever skincare routine they're on, but I'll pass on the TikTok dances. I have enough secondhand embarrassment as it is. But hey, let's give credit where credit is due. Politicians are masters at one particular skill, the art of deflection. Oh yes, they can turn a question about fiscal policy into a soliloquy about their favorite childhood toy. It's a sight to behold, really. And when it comes to taking responsibility for their actions, well, they've turned the blame game into their own version of the Olympics, and they're going for gold every time. Your tax hike? Oh no, that was the other guy. Your healthcare? Sorry, the other party messed that one up. It's like watching a professional game of Not It on the playground, and they're all too eager to pass the baton, or in this case, the hot potato, to their unsuspecting colleagues. So, if you've ever wondered why politicians never seem to break a sweat, it's because they're too busy passing the buck. It's like a never-ending game of Not It in the playground. In conclusion, I've realized that politicians are like diapers. Always full of, well, let's call it hot air, and needing to be changed far more often than anyone really wants to deal with. You know, it's the stinky truth of the matter. But hey, at least diapers serve a purpose, right? Thank you, you've been a fantastic audience. Remember, if you ever meet a politician, just smile and wave. It confuses the heck out of them. Good night, everyone.